The Dershow.
The Israelis aren't ready yet to go home. They don't trust Hezbollah. After all, there was a ceasefire in effect there were two ceasefires in effect on October 7th, one with Hamas, which they, of course, violated by brutally murdering 1,200 people. And then there was also a ceasefire with Hezbollah. That one was certified by the Security Council of the UN, and Hezbollah just decided to break it and to send missiles and rockets. And hopefully they've learned their lesson. I'm convinced that the only reason that Hezbollah has agreed to a ceasefire is they've been militarily defeated. Hamas has also been militarily defeated. I also think, and this is speculation, but I think the Trump's election sped up the process of trying to get a ceasefire, because I think Hezbollah knows and Iran knows, and Iran obviously had to agree to this. Hezbollah wouldn't go to the bathroom without checking with Iran. And so I suspect Iran knows that Trump's going to be a little tougher on them than the Biden administration has been. And I think that may be true of Hamas too. So it wouldn't surprise me enormously if Hamas changes mind. As of now, Hamas refuses to come to the bargaining table. Don't take that from me. Take that from Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor. He has placed 100% of the blame for a lack of ceasefire on Hamas. You try to tell that to these useful idiots who are parading around calling, Gaza to be free, or calling for ceasefire. I love the ones who are calling for a ceasefire. So I ask them, who's stopping the ceasefire? Israel. No, Israel has agreed to a ceasefire. Well, we didn't know that. We didn't know that. It's interesting. I spoke last week at a pro-Israel event. Of course, I was picketed and boycotted and screamed at and yelled at and called all kinds of names. But what I did was I decided to give the protesters copies of my book, The 10 Big Anti-Israel Lies, and how to refute them with truth. I'm sure most of them will just throw it in the garbage pail. But after the event was over and the protesters had all gone away, one of the protesters stayed behind, and he approached me, and my wife was a little concerned. My God, he's one of the protesters. Maybe he'll attack you in some way. And he said, "Excuse me, Mr. Dershowitz. I listened to the protesters. I was one of them, and I heard you had a book. I actually like to read the book because I want to get both sides of the story. Fortunately, I carry these books around with me because they're so thin. They're tiny little books. They're 75, 80-page pamphlets. So I had an extra copy, and I signed it to him, for truth and for peace. And he took it. And I wonder what he thinks. There was a guy who's written about this extensively, an anti-Israel Pakistani in England who was about to become a suicide bomber and go to Israel and blow up children. And he decided to read my previous book, The Case for Israel, and it turned him into a Muslim Zionist. He now goes around the world talking for Israel. As a result of reading my book, he decided to go to Israel to see for himself. I wish some of these protesters would go to Israel and see for themselves, but that's the last thing they want to do. The last thing they want to do is see facts that contradict the lies that they're being told by their professors and their colleagues. So I'm hoping the ceasefire will hold. I'm hoping it will extend to Hamas, but obviously Israel should not surrender the Philadelphia corridor, which is the only area that prevents weapons from coming in to Gaza. So Israel has an absolute not only right but responsibility to keep that secure, and that's the Gaza. And Hamas says, no, we have to open up the Philadelphia corridor so we can bring in rockets and tunnel building equipment. That's not a ceasefire. That's just allowing the other side to rearm. So in this Thanksgiving, my hope is for peace in the Middle East,